Welcome everyone to the 18th session of the Podium TED Talk series organized by Asiata Digital Labs. Today we are delighted to present an insightful session on designing for humans, the psychology of UI UX with our speaker Shobethan Mohaneswaran, who will guide us through the dynamic world of user interface and user experience design. To give a bit of a background on our speaker today, Shobethan is a self-taught UI UX engineer since 2013 and embarked on a journey of freelancing and self-learning before pursuing a BSc in computer science. His dedication to the craft led him to transition into an industry-level UI UX role in 2018, where he gained hands-on experience in various design requirements. So now, as we immerse ourselves in this enlightening journey, I hand over the reins to Shobethan to unravel valuable insights into the ever-evolving field of UI UX in technology. Over to you, Shobethan.
Thank you, Shara, for the introduction. Okay, so let's begin with the presentation. Let me share. Oh, you can see my screen. Shara, can you see my screen?
Yes, the screen is visible.
Okay. So the topic today is designing for humans, the psychology of UI UX. We may ask, yes, of course, we all design for humans, right? Why we specifically say that we should design for humans? To understand that, we need to know about psychology behind the UI UX. So before start the session, I just want to show this meme. So back in early days, Samsung introduced Galaxy S3 and they used a tagline called Design for Humans. And yes, as you know, all the social media users mocked this with these kind of memes. Like saying the aliens saying racist, Samsung is not designing for us, just designing for humans, likewise. So why we need to design for humans and what is it exactly means? So to understand that, let me show these examples. Okay. UI UX is not just limited to digital devices or digital interfaces. So interface means it's everywhere, right? We use products, we use services and everywhere. So that means the user interface and of course the user experience is not just limited to digital world. Like here in the right side, you can see about this cup mug, right? So it's beautiful, but the experience is bad. Likewise, the biggest debate happening is the Apple's magic mouse. You can't use the mouse while charging. See this kind of example in an elevator. You don't know what button you should press to navigate or go to that particular platform or something. And again, this digital UI design example, which is bad versus good. Like when we click a button, it is not showing anything, and after a while, it is saying saved. But what is good? Once we click, the loading should be coming and saying it's saving, and later it's showing saved. So there are a lot of problems out there with the interfaces and the experiences. So as human, if you are a designer, other than you should understand what is it, what kind of design is this, and they can able to use. So you as a human design for another human means the third person should understand without the explanation, much of the explanation, and should use the device or application. So in order to do that, First, we need to understand the user behavior. So in terms, user means humans other than you. So let me, after this slide, let me talk about only about the digital designs, but it is not limited. It will say to the other applications or real world products as well. But I will show only the example for the digital so that you can easily map into that. So in order to understand user behavior, you should decode how the user will behave. So in the next example, you can see a lot of elements here, like buttons, checkboxes, switches, tables, home elements, icons, lot of stuff, right? So there are a lot of elements out there in digital design. Some of them are meant to be clicked. Some of them are meant to be, swipe left, swipe down. Some of them are meant to be zoomed, click. Some of them are meant to be just to look, like just for the visually appealing stuffs. So which kind of engagement the user is going to do with that particular element, we should know as a designer. In these examples, see how the user is engaging with these applications. There are a lot of actions happening, clicking, swiping left, swiping up. So these kind of behaviors we need to understand well when we try to design for humans. So if we look the theoretical part, basics of user interaction. So interface interaction means the way users engage, communicate, and navigate within interfaces. So to engage, the users will use elements like, as I said earlier, buttons, menus, forms, etc. With those elements, people use actions like clicking, tapping, swiping, scrolling to navigate and browse or move through the interfaces. They can sometimes input using selecting options, typing, and the system also will give the feedback using notifications, responses likewise. So in the early days, it's just plain interface. For example, when we try to give action buttons, we should have buttons for all the actions like delete, edit, copy, duplicate, and etc. Nowadays, in mobile application, we don't need to show everything. The person, the user can understand if it is a messaging application. We all know we use WhatsApp. So we will swipe left and swipe right to check for more action items. But early days, it is not something like that. So we should understand how the current world, the humans in this world, moving with the technology, so that we can design for them. So we can understand the user behavior, how they interact with the interface, then we can design. The next part is emotional design. So emotionally, you should connect with your audience, like customer or the client or the user, whoever the person that's asked for the design. In that case, see this example. You can say that this is visually appealing. The use of color, the way they used showcasing these interfaces, and the font, the illustrations, icons, everything. But this is not just something that will make the user experience better. User experience should be also good in order to the users using that application continuously. So there are 3 levels of emotional processing to that. The first one is visceral, second behavioral, and third one is reflective. So if we take one application that we design, the user will see it first, how attractive this application is. If he knows something else before, he will map it with that consciousness. It's about initial impression, so how nice it is, and some feelings. So once he passes this level, it may be positive, it may be negative. The second level is using the application, the behavior, how usable that application is. So is it functioning well or not, performing well or not, the effectiveness of use that application. So these he or she will understand when using the application. The third level, reflective. So if it is good or bad, the reflection will be done by the user. So he or she will think the meaning of the product, the impact of the product, whether it's good or bad. He or she will share the experience with mates. And again, the other stuff is cultural meaning. Someone in Asian countries look different one application, and from the American perspective, it may be different. Another good example is we see red color as a danger, but in China, it's like a good one. So culturally, there are a lot of differences there. So they will think on that manner as well. So if we design for particular users, we should understand their behavioral or emotional way of thinking to design better for them. So as I mentioned, it refers to the intentional incorporation of elements within product or experience to evoke specific emotions or connections from users. Like if we understand our customers' emotions well, we can connect with them. So if we connect with them in our designs, for a long time, users will use our application or design until we change in a reverse manner or something. So, but at the same time, we should think it is not a permanent thing. Like if we design for some particular groups even, time to time, it may change. So we should be getting feedback also and design or fine tuning as per their interest. The next thing is empathy in design. So we should understand and address the emotions. Like a quick example, in recent times, Spotify music, given some what kind of listener you are, kind of, because they got all the data, which songs you are listening for the last year. And by that, they mentioned which kind of listener you are, which musics you have listened much. So likewise, you should emotionally connect with your users. Another example is, you know about Nike, right? So they manufacture sport shoes, but they have their own application, running application to emotionally connect with their users. How it is done is they inspire and motivate their users to run or be in a good fitness level. They provide personalized coaching, achievements, social sharing features so that the community, the user base of the Nike will emotionally connect with them. So their engagement will be long term. The next part, user-centered design. You may ask, this should be in the first place. User-centered designs. Since we are designing for humans, we need to design for the user in the middle. So we will craft experience around the user. But before we understand this, we should understand the behavior, user behavior, and the emotional design. So that's why I put user-centered design as a third sub topic. So user-centered design, it simply means the same, like as you can see the example here, it's just a payment paying application design. Like here, what they are trying to do is get the payment amount, the date, payment method, like different kind of users may want to use different payment methods. For quick access, they have given choices of previously used cards. For a new card or payment method, they can still click and pay. After that, they have clearly mentioned the path. Select payment option is the first in the wizard and review and pay is the second in the wizard. So they'll know in which path we are in and what we can expect next. This is a very good example of how payment options should be. The next thing, like in order to understand the user, we need to understand what the user needs. If maybe I'm a youngster with maybe 5 years or 6 years of experience, but I may need to design some application for a 60 plus people, maybe for an example, retirement application, retirement fund application. I'll never know what kind of requirements or what kind of expectation that people will have. So the only way to understand that is by research, by asking them questions at least, or getting data from some kind of research happened earlier. So we need to understand there are a lot of methodologies to do the research and find the data which we need exactly. So there are surveys we can use, we can do interviews, we can use usability testing, we can do. By this, we can get the data which is needed to us to design. We can create user personas as well to find better design decisions. We, as a designer, we don't actually decide which we like. We need to think from the user's perspective. When we design for humans, that means we are not designing for us exactly. We are designing for someone else. So we need to understand their perspectives as well. And about interaction design process, it should be iterative. Like I said earlier, it is not one-time work. You should get the feedback from the user and fine-tune the design. That's a good way of doing design. The next is accessibility consideration. So, there's the importance of inclusive design because we are going to design for diverse user needs. There are a lot of colorblind users, maybe old people, maybe you're going to use your application. So in these days, the inclusive design is getting trendy and also it's mandatory to use. That's the way of good design. If you don't want to know more about this inclusive design, in the previous Podium series, Devin did a good job and he did a Podium series about how to design inclusive. So you can check in YouTube channel as well from the Asiata Digital Lab to check more about that inclusive design. Okay, then next topic, color psychology and visual perception. When we design for humans, as one person, we know which color we like, but the third person, we don't know what's his sort of favorite color. And if it is a group of people, it's very hard to tell. So we need to understand the psychology behind the colors as well. As you can see here, there are a lot of meaning for each colors, like purple means royalty, fantasy, and blue means trust, security, green means nature. So there are a lot of meanings to the colors. So this is kind of like this happened early and people determine, okay, this feels this previously so that we can understand this psychology and design. So most of the eco-friendly applications use green color. Most of the security related applications use blue color, but it is not limited to that exactly because we can use the colors, but the amount of use is the decision as designers. So mostly we can read this and understand this psychology and then design to target this particular category of people, the users exactly. In this example, it's related to another color stuff. Like the first one is kind of like having light purple background. And the top, we have purple color text. So we can see well the background and the text. In the second block, there's also a light color purple, but the text is in black color. Why is that? Because this purple may not look good in this background. So we change that to black. So if we make the background darker to the different purple, we are changing the color of the text to white. So this is the way that we can easily read. So there are a lot of stuffs like this. And about color blindness, the normal person with the normal vision can see this. And the colorblind person, the deuteronormally person will see like this, and protanopia person see like this, and retinopia person like this. Try to understand how these will look to the others with the color blindness as well. For an example, if we give an option like close and save in a same structure of button style, even with a different color, maybe this person having this kind of blindness may see the same buttons twice. So we need to think them as well. So we need to have differences between those two buttons, like with the size, style, and the text, so that if he has or he or she has color blindness, he or she will well understand the difference between those two buttons. Now, these are just examples. So you should understand the color psychology in order to design like this. So you should know how colors evoke emotions and perceptions. And also, as I mentioned earlier about the red color, we see them as danger, but in some places in the world, they see red as good color. So when you design for those kind of people, you should think their culture and their meaning of color psychology. And there's another point like visual hierarchy. So if you are making a professional application or web application or admin dashboard, if the brand color is red, you should be conscious using how much color of this particular red you should use. Even if the brand color is red, you can't use 100% or maybe 90% that red color. So you should have that hierarchy of the colors. And of course, the accessibility colors, as I mentioned earlier, the colors differentiation for different colorblind users. So you should understand color psychology as well to design for human. The next topic is information architecture. So in this example, you will read this first, right? Then you will read this line next, and then this one, and then this one, and then one in the top. This is the very good example of how information architecture should be. So it's kind of like differentiated by font size, colors, spacing, the placement where it is located. So if you want to show something brighter to the user, you should choose by font size or a different font or the placement. You should think. So in order to do that, you should understand which should come first. So in this example, they rebranded the old website, which is bad actually. So you can understand why they are changing this like this. So the way of architecting the information, infusing the buttons, icons, the way of changing it, so that user can easily understand or scan and easily get to know what is it exactly. Other than going one by one everything, they can simply understand. So the information architecture is very crucial in the UI design in order to design for humans. So the structure of the content, navigation comprehension, you should have a good hierarchy and navigation. So the user can easily understand and scan and do the actions very quickly. So again, he or she will use your application for a long term. So there are some mental models as well to understand how the users perceive and how should you organize the information before designing. So you should be thinking like these points. And when you design, you should create interfaces that the users allows to find information very easily, as I mentioned earlier. So you don't need to, write up paragraphs like with 120 words, 200 words, you can simply make them understand what you are trying to say with this information architecture. The next part is usability and accessibility. So in this example, you can understand, okay, here they are using icons along with the text. So users can easily map their real world product or the type like winter furniture, and they can find which is winter jacket, which is boots, because they have infused the icons as well. So this is good example how the usability this application is. In this example, there's an issue like the create account page is also having email and password fields, and the login page also having email and password fields. Why is it bad? This users, as we are the users, we meant to use login page by giving email and password. So whenever we see email and password fields, we quickly think it is as a login page. So since these days we are not meant to read everything, we are very quick by scanning the application and working or giving the actions. These kind of mistakes should be avoided. So in order to do that, the designer of this application should think in our perspective. So by enhancing usability and accessibility, you can make your users or human, the other person, use your application for a long term. So you should know the importance of that intuitive design, how to make the application very user friendly so that it will give user satisfaction. And also you should think how different users with the different abilities or different issues will use this application. So you should design in that perspective. And also, as a designer, you can't design everything better in first place. So again and again, it is about testing and finding which are the user-friendly things, accessible things, and which not work. So you should fine-tune again. The last part, feedback, error handling, and user trust. In this stuff, see these examples. For here in the left side, once person clicks send email, it is showing that this is related this particular block. So it is kind of like shaking. And also there's a notification in the bottom like profile updated. In this example, we have a post message. And in this example, top right one, we have notification, we click and promptly it is changing. That means the user interface is giving feedback to the user quickly. So the user can understand what is happening behind the scenes. Exactly. So giving feedback to the user is mandatory. If we are designing for humans, yes. So you should understand the importance of that clear feedback. So whenever you are handling the error, you should give the error message gracefully so the user can understand well. You don't need to give 2-3 lines of message. You can simply give a small title and say what exactly the problem is. And if you be transparent, the user will trust you. So he will trust the application, trust the design and everything. And he or she will use the application for a long term. So again and again, I'm saying get the feedback and continuously work on the improvement. This is the only way to not achieve, I would say at least going towards the perfect design. So getting feedback and learning from that and then change the design if it is necessary. Then again, getting another feedback, and it's kind of like a loop should be. So if you understand all these, and when designing, if you think of these well, you can design for humans. As a last part, I want to tell about you future trends in psychology informed design. You may have heard about AIs. So this is an example, the AI generated UI. As you can see, the middle part is super cool, right? Is eye-catching, visually appealing. But the other parts are not well designed. But you may say this will take time. After a while, maybe the AI can design well the UIs. But I'm not going to talk about the AI generating UIs. Since our topic is designed for humans, I would like to say how this AI is going to help you designing UIs in this psychological way. So what you can do in future is, with the help of AI and machine learning, you can personalize the user experience. You can get the help of AI, and in each application, maybe you can infuse AI, and for each person, we'll see personalized experience in that application. So if we personalize something, that person will definitely use the application for a long term. The next part, anticipatory design. So we can't predict the future as a design for particular user category. But since the AI has a lot of data and it is doing the research within his algorithm, we can use that prediction and fulfill the user needs very actively. And ethical AI in design. Sometimes very quickly we need to take some design decisions, but we don't may have the data well, so we maybe we lack of knowing what kind of user category we are going to design, those kind of problems. So with the help of AI, we can balance this and we can make AI-driven design decisions and then design. So think the AI is maybe in future help you to design UI in the exact user interface designing, but user experience wise, you should be thinking how the AI can be useful to make or personalize this application or design when trying to design for humans. So these are all I wanted to say in this session. Thank you all for navigating this user-centric experience with me. So if you have any questions, can ask.
Yes. Thank you, Shobethan, for that insightful session on the evolution of UI UX in tech. I'm sure we have gained valuable insights into this dynamic field. Now let's open the floor for a Q&A session. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat and Shobethan will address them shortly. We'll give everyone a couple of minutes to share their questions. Okay, so I don't think there are any questions. So before we wrap up, a big thank you to Shobethan for sharing his expertise with us today. We appreciate your time and knowledge. Thanks to all the attendees for joining this session. Looking forward to seeing you at our future podium sessions as well, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.